Hello, good afternoon, students. I hope I'm audible to all of you. Just give me some confirmation that I'm audible to all of you. Yes, yes, good to know that. Yeah, thank you for your confirmation. So this is our first lecture. Yeah, I'm going to deal with the orientation. I'll be talking about. Yes, thank you for your confirmation. So now today I'll be talking about what are the electives in CS department that we are going to offer. I'll also be giving the orientation of both the electives. But first of all, to start with, I'm Dr. Mihir Dave. I'm going to deal with one of the CS electives. So let's clarify some of the basic terms that we are going to use repeatedly so that you get to know that. So first of all, what do I mean by CS electives? So CS stands for communication skills, and electives stands for a choice that you will be given. So as a class in the semester 1, you will be given 2 electives. What are these 2 electives? We'll see in a short while. But these 2 electives will be offered to you as a SEM 1 first semester student. You will have to select either of the electives, right? So what are these 2 electives and how do you choose it would depend on your choice, would depend on the orientation that I'm going to give you of both these electives, right? So let's get straight to this presentation. I hope you are able to see the screen that I've shared with you. The PPT screen that I shared, I guess it is visible. I could see from here, so just give me a confirmation. Yes, thank you, Say, for your confirmation. So now let's see. I'll take a brief while to give you the orientation, and then I'll write to, I'll also invite the questions and queries at the end of it. So I'll wind up the orientation of first elective in let's say 10-15 minutes, and then I'll take say 10 to 15 more minutes for the second electives. So I am planning to wind up this orientation within let's say 20 minutes max, or if preferably less than that, and then I leave the floor open for the doubts, queries, questions, right? And based on that, I'll also tell you how to select either of the electives, right? So give me just 10-20 minutes, and in the meantime, in case you have questions, put it on your say notebook or somewhere, and maybe at the end of this orientation of roughly 20 minutes, you may ask your doubts and questions, right? But throughout this orientation, let me finish. I think after finishing my orientation, there will not be any doubts, but still, if you still have some confusions, you are most welcome, right? So let's start with the elective number 1, which is reading and writing for business. Shortly, we'll call it RWB as an initial taken from the 3 words that are used. Reading and writing for business would be your first elective in CS. This elective would be of 2 credit, right? This subject would have the code as you can see on the screen, 04SL, say 102. That would be your say code. And 2 credit means the number of credits would be there, the number of lectures would come. Let's say if there are 2 credits, that means there'll be 2 lectures per week of this subject, right? It is in the semester 1, the same program is offered, or the same syllabus and electives are offered in BBA honors, BBA regular, and BCom classes. So now let's look at some of the objectives. What are the objectives of this syllabus? Have a look at it. At the end of this course, as a student, you can expect to read, right? What students would be enabled to read and interpret the formal business writings such as reports, articles, reviews related to business and the business world. So that is the first objective that our course offers. Second would be to know, that students will be able to know the structures of formal business letters and reports, right? So what are the structures? Because the way you write other kinds of letters and the way you write formal business letters and reports, the main difference, of course, would be structure and language. So that would be offered to you in the first 2 objectives. Then these are other 2 objectives that would focus more on writing skills. That is, that you will be enabled to write formal business letters and reports. So that would be 1. And of course, the last one would be to inculcate the taste of reading and writing habits, right? So pertaining to the business world. Now, all of you should know that all the changes that are taking place, all the development that are taking place in the business world. They are being documented, they are being published, right? So not only what happened, history and development of any field, but also the future possibilities. Some of the best scholars and best researchers are putting say things online, they are putting things on paper. And if you are a good reader, you will not only be able to understand the current scenario of a business world, but you will also be ready to understand, in position to make out the future possibilities. So that way we'll also try and inculcate this habit of reading. If you're a good reader, you'll be able to see future, right? And you can of course plan your future accordingly. So these are the 4 objectives that will be there. As you can see, the first 2 objectives are about reading skills, and the other 2 are about say writing, and of course say reading, writing, say taste would be developed. Now the syllabus would have basically 2 units. In the first units, say first unit, you will be given some of the articles from the business world, right? So you'll be say given an article published in a book called Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, published by Rashmi Bansal, which book is nothing but the collection of interviews of the highly successful entrepreneurs of say a reputed institution called IIM, which is there in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So those say successful entrepreneurs, their articles are there, 25 interviews are there. One of them, the interviews would be Tripping Along. Deep Kalra is the CEO of that company. The company is popularly known as MakeMyTrip.com. That's the tag line of that one. So we are going to look at the article published of this interview. That would be one. Second, there will be 3 of the articles published in say Forbes magazine. Now Forbes magazine has an Indian say version. So Forbes magazine Indian has published say article called Paytm, the Wonder Wallet, right? So this Paytm is an e-wallet for say transaction, very popular in India, and a very successful example. So this Paytm is what is the CEO, and the journey and the future possibility is what we are going to discuss in Paytm. There'll be 2 more articles from say Gallup, is a platform which say houses and say hosts some of the wonderful articles. So 2 articles from Gallup's would be there called Millennials, how they say live and work. That will be one. Another is the right culture, not about employees' happiness. So that will be the second article pertaining to the business world, the corporate world, and some of the real say life stories. All these would be real life stories. They are not fictional. They are kind of related to the business world. So that way it will be relevant to the business also. And our focus also would be how to develop reading and inculcate the taste of it. So that will be your unit number 1, which consists of reading articles, and we'll be discussing those articles in the classrooms. Then in the unit number 2, that will be about say reading say letters of sales and inquiry and all. That will be one. And second, there'll be writing also. Like once you know how to read and understand what are the kinds of letters and say reports, you'll also be able to draft. You'll be able to write the letters. So we'll be taking have a look at some of the popular kinds of letters, and 2 of the types of business letters is what we are going to discuss. And then of course reading say few short business reports would also be there, and writing short business report would also be the part of it. So you can see it will be basically reading and writing about business, as the title of the syllabus subject suggests, that it is going to be about all reading and writing for business, right? So these 2 units would be there, which will talk basically about reading and writing for business. These are some of the recommended say readings. Some of them are online resources, some of them are offline resources. So these books are recommended for your to say while studying the syllabus, it will help you. So that's one. Then interesting thing would be the evaluation say scheme. I don't know about the countries that all of you belong, and the kind of assessment system that you have gone through up to your say high school, but here, at least for this elective, now please understand, don't confuse this assessment pattern of these 2 electives with rest of the subjects that is going to be offered in this campus, right? It's different. The elective that we are going to discuss right now are limited to 2 electives that we are discussing right now, RWB and SPS, right? Others will have separate elective and separate say assessment pattern, right? So this is only for 2 electives that we are discussing, RWB and SPS. Fine. So the good part would be there will not be any end semester or mid semester examinations. Written examinations will not be there, either of kind, right? But there'll be internal assessments. There'll be say in-class assessments. There'll be participation that is required. There'll be term papers that you are expected to prepare. There'll be presentations that you'd be expected to make. As you can see, the tag called CSE, which stands for continuous semester evaluation. That means throughout the semester, you will be given some assignments, you will be given some tasks, say maybe group work, maybe pair work. By doing these works, you will be able to learn how to read and write for business, right? So that will be more of a practical in nature. And of course, the term and presentation would also be there, where you are going to make a presentation for which you will be given enough time to prepare, enough guidance to work with, and then ultimately you will be making your final presentation. So that be for that. And of course, at the end of your semester, there'll be Viva, and that will also be 25 marks. So in total, that will be 30 marks of the assignments that will be given, internal assignment, which is known as IA. There'll be CSE of 20 marks. Then there will be term and presentation for 25 marks. And Viva also would be for 25 marks. And as you can see, the grand total would be 100 marks, which does not have, say, written tests or end semester or mid-semester examination as a part of it, which is limited to these 2 electives that we are discussing, right? So this would be the assessment pattern, which also would be same way in which SPS, the second elective, which I'm going to discuss in a while, will have the same assessment pattern, right? No written examinations. There'll be practical, say, assignments you'll be given. There'll be practical tasks that you are supposed to perform. All these would be your assessment. Same for SPS and RWB, right? So these are the ones. I'll invite the questions after the second say presentation that I'm going to share with you in a while. Just give me a second. I'll arrange for my second, say, slide, which I'm going to share about the second elective, which is known as speaking and presentation skills, right? Just give me a minute. I'll share the screen of my presentation of SPS, which is the abbreviation of speaking and presentation skills, right? So that is going to be your second elective. What we discussed previously was first elective. That was titled as reading and writing for business. Now this is going to be your second elective, which is speaking and presentation skills, right? So again, the title and the credit and all those things will remain same. So I haven't included here, but objectives, of course, would be different. So let's look at the objectives of SPS, which is speaking and presentation skills. So the first objective would be that as students, you'll be able to share the information on familiar matters and issues in English, right? I should also mention, when we say share in English, it also means the formal English, the business English, right? So that's one, that is the objective of this course. As students, you'll also be able to articulate the ideas effectively in terms of speaking in an academic context, right? It could be an academic context. You can also extend it to the business context, right? Articulate is to share and express, right? So you'll be able to express your ideas effectively, and you'll be able to talk in terms of context of business and academics. So that is the second say objective. Third objective, to acquire a degree of proficiency to use English in an oral form, right? All of you know that to know English, or to know, say, communication skills, and to actually make a presentation, these are 2 different things. So you'll be offered certain degree of proficiency in terms of oral presentations. So that will be there, right? So that these are 3 objectives that we are going to have in SPS. Now we are going to look at the syllabus of SPS. So this is the unit number 1 of your SPS, which would consist of speaking tasks. So that there will be greetings, not only limited to good morning, good afternoon, but various kinds of greetings. When we meet, when we part, when we interrupt, when we want to ask for something, what kinds of greetings can be used. is what will be the first topic. They're introducing self and peers. How do you introduce yourself? How do you take somebody else's say introduction? Let's say peers, those who are working with you. How do you introduce them? Right. So that is what we are going to have in the second topic. Third, we are going to have say asking and sharing information. Right. So if you want to ask for information formally, right, we are not talking about how do you do that in terms of with your friends and family, but how do you do it in say a formal situation, in a business situation, right? Sharing and say having say acquiring and sharing information would be one of the topics that we are going to discuss. And then expressing your point of view, that is your opinion. How do you share your opinion? How do you put forward your say state of mind or your point of view is what you're going to learn. We are also going to discuss about discussion, right? We are going to have how to discuss in terms of, let's say, business say group discussions you may take. And of course then how do you face viva voce. Now all of you know that not only in our electives but also in other syllabus also you might have viva voce, which is a kind of an interview, but an academic interview where you'll be asked certain questions in order to know have you understood or not. So that's what we're going to have. We're also going to have interview sessions. That is, how do you face job interview, or how do you say what kinds of questions are going to be asked, and how can you prepare yourself for those interview questions is also we are going to get, right? So this is what will be there in your unit number 1. As you can see, all the topics are about speaking, right? So that will be the first unit. And then if you look at the second unit, it's about presentation. Now understand the previous unit was talking about the conversation. It was talking about the speaking part, which was not speeches, right? To give a lecture is not same as discussing. Discussion would be two-way, whereas presentations are expected to be one-way. That means there could be some questions at the end of it, but mostly it is speaker-centric. So those kinds of presentations is going to be say discussed. So we'll be told what are the effective ways of doing say presentations. It will also help you to prepare how to prepare, right, for presentation and collect information, data explorations, and organizing the content that you get. All those things would be the part of it. And then of course use of ICT, right, the technical tools that you use for your say presentation, maybe projector, maybe online platforms, all those things, how to use it all will also be the part of your unit number 2. Then getting ready for the presentation, that is how do you prepare it. Broadly speaking, there'll be 2 stages, something that is you do before you go to the stage and something that you do after you go to the stage for presentation. So those aspects we are going to discuss. So effective body and pronunciation, all those things would be the part of what do you do when you are on stage, like what kind of body language you should have, what kind of pronunciation that you should take care. All those things would be the part of unit number 2. And of course we'll also give you say situations where you're going to have interaction with the audience, like you gave a presentation and then you receive some questions. So how do you give and take the questions and answer is what we are going to have in the syllabus. And of course there'll be a whole lot of a practice, and then at the end of it we are going to record those of your presentations, and then we can assess. And of course feedback session would be the last one. Okay, now you can see the this recommended readings and viewings. And in order to speak better, you need to be a good listener. In order to listen, these are some of the say platforms that we would recommend. TED Talks, I'm sure some of you must be aware of. Ink Talks, they are Indian versions of TED Talks. Toastmaster videos are also there, good for listening practice. And of course, classroom dramas and other say links also will be shared with you. But these are the recommended viewings and listening, right? As I discussed with RWB, the assessment pattern is going to be the same. That means no written exam, no mid-semester exam, no end semester exam. There will be internal assessment for 30 marks. There will be continuous semester evaluation, CSE as it's known as, would be for 20 marks. Term and presentation and viva would be of 25 marks each, and grand total would then become say 100. So this is going to be your second elective, that is known as speaking and presentation skills, right? Shortly known as SPS, right? So these are two of the electives. These are some more descriptors given for what kind of assignments would be there, what kind of evaluation would be there, right? So these are the kinds of sub divisions that are given. Particulars of those vivas and those term and presentations would be shared with you. So that's from my side. These are two electives that are offered to you, and now as students you will have to choose either of the electives. Either you can choose RWB or you can choose SPS, right? What I can assure you is whatever elective you choose, your four skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking in English, would be polished. We would have for you certain kinds of activities which will boost your language learning and communication, especially with special reference to business in all four skills. Right. So having said that, from my side, this is what I wanted to share. Now I invite, say, your questions, queries, doubt. I would request all of you to unmute your mic in case you have any question. If you feel like, you can type in the chat as well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm called Joel Mujisha from BCom.
Okay, okay.
And I have a question which says, if I can clearly remember the communication skills subject when attempting an exam, there are two sections: the reading and writing for business, and the speaking part. That one that you just shown
speaking
to us.
and presentation skills. Yes.
Yes, and then when attempting a question, you are required to choose one of the questions.
One of the electives,
right?
These are two electives: RWP, SPS.
Yes.
So you can choose either RWB or you can choose SPS. Either.
Yes. Yes. And then my question goes: during the course of study of this subject, is the student required to study all of them, or we are going to just select one of those which will be attempted in an exam? No, so we need a clarification on that.
Sure, sure. There are two clarifications I'll make from the question that I understood. First, if you choose RWB, that means throughout the semester you are going to study RWB, that is reading and writing for business. So let's say you would choose, for example, RWB, then you need not to study nor need to appear for exam of SPS, which is a separate elective. Let's say another friend of your, let's say Bimal, for example, chose SPS. Then Bimal will take SPS and his classes. In fact, all those who will choose RWB would become a separate class, and all those who will choose SPS will become a separate class. And their lectures also will be separate, right? So and second thing I heard is exam. As I said, there will not be any end semester or mid-semester exams, but yes, there will be assessment, there will be assignments, there will be tasks based on which you will be assessed. So that's there. So you don't need to choose.
And then here comes to my final question.
Yes.
What are we required to do in order to select the RW part and the speaking part?
Yes, at the end of this lecture, I'm going to share a Google form with all of you. I think through WhatsApp, or I don't know, because yes, I'm there in both the WhatsApp groups. So I'm going to share the link of a Google form, which just by clicking, you just need to give your name, enrollment number, class, and the elective, either of the electives, just by clicking. Right. So the Google form for choosing either of the electives would be say circulated by the end of this lecture today itself. Right.
Oh, okay, sir.
Sure,
thank you.
I hope I have answered the question.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. Anybody else? Okay.
I may ask another question, sir.
Yes, I think you did. Okay, so there is Aroni. If I would apologize in advance because I may not be able to pronounce some of your names. So please pardon me if I'm not able to pronounce your name initially. Once I'll get used to it, I'm sure I'll be able to pronounce your name correctly. So I'm apologizing in advance. So let me see. There are two kind of questions I could see in the chat. First is by Dorji. When is the deadline to submit our electives? Well, earlier the better. I would give you 24 hours starting from today once the electives are shared, because I think next lecture we are going to have on Wednesday. So what we are planning is that once all of you choose your electives, then the class will be divided into two for say BBA. By the way, this a lecture would be combined in a way and separated in a way. So please understand, as I could see BBA and BCom students, for this say elective say classes, both the classes BCom and BBA would be combined. Step one. Step two, based on the choices that you're going to make today, the class would be both BCom and BBA students would be divided into two. One group would go for SPS, another group would go for RWB, right? Let's say once this bifurcation is done, then there'll be two. Another colleague of mine also would join. So let's say one of the groups would be taught by another faculty, another group would be taught by the other faculty parallel, right? So if let's say the time on Monday today is 2:30 to 3:15, then at that time there will be two parallel classes, one of SPS, another of RWB, right? So that's I think the answer. The deadline answer is given, I think, of Dorji. Then Aroni asked, what does Viva mean? Well, Viva is basically question and answer, and that will come at the end of your semester, right? So let's say at the end of a semester, an external, most preferably external, say examiner would come, and he or she would ask you basic questions of what you did. Let's say you made a presentation in SPS, for example. So they may ask you, okay, what was the topic of your presentation? How did you prepare for your presentation? What kind of letters did you learn? How do you write this letter? Something that you did, something that you have learned, right? So that these kinds of questions would be asked in Viva, and of course you'd be assessed and given marks out of 25, right? So that is going to be basically question and answer, right? Aroni, I hope I have answered. Then we have Christopher. Christopher from BBA. Are you the lecturer of both the electives? No, practically, obviously not possible. As I said, both the electives will be parallel. So I might be dealing with one of the electives. There'll be another colleague of mine. I think Bautik sir, Bautik Limbani sir is going to join once the electives are divided. So one of the electives will be dealt by Bautik sir, and another elective would be dealt by me. I'm Mihir, Dr. Mihir David. So that's the answer to this one. So good. I guess.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes. Please tell me your name and then your question.
I'm Yoel Mujisha from BCom.
Okay, okay.
And mine is like a suggestion. I'm suggesting that if it's possible for you, you would share that PPT for the orientation, so that we can be able to determine our electives carefree. Okay,
okay. So this PPT consists of nothing but the syllabus and those things. So sure, in the Google Classroom, I'm going to share the PDF of these. So I'm sure you can refer to it back then. And that reminds me that I think some of you have still not accepted the invite of Google Classroom. So please do that by today itself, so that you get to know all this material that I'm going to share in the Google Classroom. In case you have not accepted the invite, or in case you have not received the invite, do let me know. And you can also approach BCom students, can approach Jitendra sir for technical glitch, or in case you are not receiving links or anything. And BBA students can approach Kiran Kumar sir for queries in case you have. Right. So there I'm going to share.
My last question, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
My last.
You better say next question. There is nothing last. You're going to be here, right? Tomorrow also. You're not leaving. So you should say my next question.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. At what extent is it possible for a student to switch from RWB to SPS and the reverse? When he or she had already started the RW part, and he decided to switch to SPS part.
Yeah, before you click. You can switch before you click.
Yes.
Once you click, you can't. Right? So before you click, that's why we are having this orientation. In case you still have doubts, feel free to ask. I can go back and I can still repeat what are the content be offered in RWB and what would be the content offered in SPS. Right? If you wish, we'll give another orientation. We'll also, yeah, I'm still here, but still in case you think you need help before you click, you may ask, because once you click, it will be generated and then the class would be divided, right? So we are ready to help. We are ready to say share whatever information you want on either of the electives, and you may choose accordingly, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Please tell me your name and then.
I have a question.
Yes, yes. Please tell me your name.
I'm Tango Samakai.
Okay.
From BCom.
Okay.
Yes. Are we going to continue if we choose either of the electives? Are we going to continue with them until we finish the course or the semester, and then are we going to have another course to choose in the second semester?
So far as communication skills electives are concerned, they will be offered in 2 semesters. So in this semester, these 2 electives are there, RWB and SPS for semester 1. In semester 2, again, you will be given 2 more new electives and you will have to choose either of those electives as well. But that will be in the next semester. So far as this semester 1 is concerned, these are 2 electives. Elective 1, RWB, reading and writing for business, and second elective is SPS, speaking and presentation skills, right? So for this semester, whatever you'll choose, you will study throughout the first semester. Either you will study reading and writing for business, or you will study speaking and presentation skills for this semester. Once this is done, in the second semester, there'll be new electives and separate thing, right? I hope I have
All right,
answered.
thank you, sir.
Sure, sure.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay. So silence means either everything is clear, or I hope it is not the second case, right? Okay, it's all clear according to Aroni. Fine, I have tried and I hope that I have made things clear. So before we end the class, I'll take the attendance, but I'll take it in slightly different way because I need you to help me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the class list that I have, and I want all of you to help me to read your names. And the moment you read your name, that will be your attendance. And if you're not present, that's fine. But if you're there, I want you to help me in reading, right? So I'm going to share the screen where you can see your, say, names in the enrollment. And accordingly, please share. Tell me your name. I think I cleared on Viva Voce, right? I think I did share. I think Arohi asked about the question. What is the Viva? Viva is basically question answer, which is going to be conducted at the end of the lecture. Or sorry, at the end of semester, once you are done with your learning. And then external examiner would come and would ask you the questions of what you did, what are the project, and that way. Right? So that's the Viva. Okay, so let's look at the attendance. I hope you could see the screen. Yes, so those who are there, I'll try and read in whatever limited ways I can. In case I mispronounce, as I said, please pardon me and please help me. So how do you read this first name? This is the BBA list. First of all, BBA list. Then we'll go for the BCom class. So can you please help me reading the first name? Enrollment number 92. How do we read this? Kongla, I don't know. How do you read this name? Please unmute your mic if you are there in the class. Enrollment number, say, ending with 4192. Do we have that student in the class? So that's Kongla. Do we have Kongla in the class? Kwarbok Kongla. Are you there? No. Do we have
Yes,
Zelmi?
sir. Yes, yes. Hello.
Yes, the 43 number?
Zalalam Gita Magur.
The first one,
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah, 43.
Okay, sure, thank you. Do we have, how do you pronounce your name?
No, second one, second.
Second, first is not there, right? Fine. So,
Zalalam Gita.
okay, Zalalam, I'll take some time, Zalalam, to pronounce your name correctly, and pardon me if I mispronounce your name. Zalalam, right? Zalalam. Okay, next is, okay.
Yeah, right, sir. Zalalam
It will be too demanding for me to pronounce your entire name, but I think I'll be able to. And how do you prefer to be called? Zalalam is your first name, right? Okay. Then we have, sure. Then we have Abdul.
Yes, sir.
Abdul is a common name in India also. So do we have Abdul in the class? Abdul Basit. Are you there, Abdul? No. Do we have Bilal? Do we have Bilal in the class? If you're there, please unmute. Yes. So Bilal is there. Okay. Do we have Shawik? Abdul is also there. Yes, Abdul is there. Shawik is also there. Okay. Do we have Bimal?
Sir, my name is Abdul Basit and my father's name is Abdul Samad.
So what should I call you while taking attendance? How should I address you? What's your first name?
My name is Abdul Basit, but my father's name is Abdul Samad.
So should I call you Abdul or should I call you Abdul Basit?
Not important, both is, but my name is Abdul Basit.
Okay, so Abdul is incomplete. I should say Abdul Basit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Abdul Basit, thank you. Then we have Bimal. Do we have Bimal in the class? Bimal Rai? Bimal, are you there? No? Okay. Do we have Nahom? Nahom Samuel? Nahom, are you there? Nahom Samuel?
Bilal is here, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Yes. Yes.
Bilal is
Excuse
here.
me, sir.
Oh no, sir.
Yes.
Bimal is here.
Yeah,
She
Bimal.
responded in the comment. Yeah.
Okay. Bimal is also there. And Nahom is also there. Blen, do we have Blen?
Yes, sir.
Blen is there. Okay. Nadine, do you have Nadine? Nadine, are you there? Nadine? No. This Christopher?
Yes.
Christopher is your first name, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lucy, do you have Lucy? Lucy, are you there in the class? Yes, Lucy. No, Lucy is not there. Fine. Do we have Diana? I think it's Diana, right?
Sir, Nadine is here. He responded in the chat box, sir.
Okay, Nadine is there. Fine. Okay, then do we have Diana? Diana in the class? Lucy and Diana both seem not to be there. Yeah, once you respond, you can please mute your mic because it's disturbance. Abdul Basit, if you can mute your mic. Yes, so then do we have Ibrahim?
I have a question.
Yes, who has a question?
Sir, you write my full name is Abdul Basit Abdul Samad, but my name is only Abdul Basit, sir.
Okay, fine. So I should call you Abdul Basit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remember that.
But right here, my father.
I'm not getting your question. I'll be addressing you as Abdul Basit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Okay, so next is Ibrahim. Do you have Ibrahim in the class?
Yes, I'm present.
Okay, Ibrahim. Then we have, I don't know, how do you pronounce this? Number 55. Do you have Helseles? I don't know. Akele? Argav. Do we have that student in the class? No? Okay. So it's not there. Do we have Gisela Maya? Gisela Maya?
Yes.
Okay, Gisela is there. Okay. Doremur?
Yes, sir.
Doremur is there. Okay. Faustin?
Sir,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, sir, but I think Abdul is trying to say that his name is only Abdul Basif Monsef. Abdul Samit is his father's name, but it is mentioned in it's his name, sir.
Okay, this is the Excel file I received from the department. So if you are from a BBA, I would request you to request Kiran sir, so that he'll update the list, and accordingly it will be updated. And for the change of name, it's right now only for the attendance, right? So it's not permanent. So don't worry, right? So you can give your clarity of name to Kiran sir, and he'll update the list, and accordingly it will be reflected. So this is only for a temporary thing. So it's not permanent. So don't worry, right? Okay. Chal. So then we have Faustin. Faustin, I don't know. Is he there? Faustin? Okay, Faustin's not there. Okay. Farhat? Farhat Samdi? Farhat, are you there? No. Do we have Dorji? Lam Dorji?
Yes, sir.
Lam is there. Okay. What's your first name? Lam or Dorji?
Lam, sir. Lam, not lame, sir.
Okay. Lam. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Lam Dorji.
Okay. Lam Dorji. Okay. Then we have Usum. Usum. Do we have Usum?
Yes, sir. Usum is there, sir. He responded on the chat box.
Okay, Usum is there. Okay, Robin. Do we have Robin? Robin in the class? No? Okay. So that was BBA group. And then we have this BCom. So in BCom we have Uveri. I think Uveri was there. Uveri. Then Tsering. T silent, I guess.
Yes.
T silent,
Yes, sir.
right?
No,
Okay.
no, sir. It's Siring.
Tsering. Okay, Tsering. Okay, then we have Martin.
Yes.
Yes, Martin is your first name, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the third, bit long. Okay. Yokabi or Nyokabi? Nyokabi? Do we have Nyokabi? No. Mutango?
I'm here, sir.
Yes. And the last one is Nyon Saba.
Sir, Mtango, I'm here. You've put me absent. You've marked me as absent.
Yes, we are there. The last one, I don't know. Nyon Saba is there? No. Okay, so this is where we stand. I believe I have taken the attendance. Yes, so George is there, Martin is there. Okay, so that's there. So it's a hell of a task. I'll take, as I said, some time for me to remember your names because of the cultural difference. Same way, I guess you will also take some time for pronouncing our names. So that's a cultural difference that we have to deal with. So as I said, I'll be sharing with you the Google form link, which you have to respond by tomorrow morning, right? So that's there. So you're expected to fill up the form. In case you have doubt, queries, you already have my WhatsApp number. There you can ask. I think you have asked most of the questions, but still, if you wish, you can approach us and we'll try and respond. But make sure that you make a choice by tomorrow morning, right? Indian time, 10 in the morning, right? So do that, and that's all for today. See you in the next session. Right? Thank you for your participation.